Hi, I'm Eleanor Meyerhofer, a native Californian, designer, and digital strategist. In October of 1999, a few years after graduating from design school, I flew from San Francisco to Munich with a fistful of Deutschmarks, a dial-up connection, and an extremely vague plan. 20 plus years later, after a 10-year stint at a global agency, freelancing, and launching 2 online businesses, I'm still here. Now I'm talking to other expat business owners to share knowledge, stories, and inspiration for other non-Germans running businesses in Germany. I am just going to officially kick things off. I might just leave it in like this, like a cold open, whatever. I am going to introduce you as Azar Shad, and we kind of met on LinkedIn, but I discovered you through the Munich post, which is one of the things we'll talk about. So I'm going to kick it off by asking the standard question I ask. What is the 2-minute story of how you ended up in Germany and where you're from?
Should I?
Yeah, go.
Okay. So I used to be a living very low income family in Pakistan. I had a dream of changing how my life was as a child, and I didn't want to give the same thing to my kids. And so while in Pakistan, we became better because I started earning. But then I realized that I'm too great for people who I'm working for. So I was a really good salesman. So I moved to Germany and wanted to just be abroad, and said, okay, you know what, let me study that, and then figured out okay, you know what, that is, I could stay in Germany longer. And once I figured out I could stay in Germany longer, the main reason was to improve my life and quality of life better. And then I figured out, from being from a big company to small company, startups have a lot of money, which they don't. It was just good dollars in my eyes. And figured out our startup is a lot more hustle. Did 2 startups, how do you say it? Like 2 different startups failed, and then started learning a lot. And then just turned into marketing, into SEO and digital marketing. That was my path. But the short story for moving to Germany is just I just wanted to improve my quality of life, and things were not doing well in Pakistan. And it's kind of still stressful.
If I can't, I just remember this from one of the newsletters, the Post newsletters. You came as a student, though, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you came in your study 2 years. Okay, can I ask you a little bit about that?
Yeah,
just because my path here was so different. So when was this?
It was in 2014.
Okay, and what is that, the blue card visa, or is that something else?
So the thing is, Germany doesn't give you quickly the work permit or ability to stay longer. You can come in tourist visa and that's it, and then you have to go back. But if you come with a student visa, Germany has a lot of benefits. You can stay longer. You can apply for 18 months for a job and then look for a job. And then you can also work during your studies. That was a really new thing to me, because in Pakistan, we don't do that. Only people who are way lower income family do that. So the whole point of coming as a student rather than just having a work applied was it was harder previously in 2014. Now it's way easier.
Okay. And was that process of getting a student visa difficult? Do you just have to have secondary education in your home country?
Yeah, you need to show that. So a lot of people still cannot come to Germany because some people do their bachelor's for 2 years and Germany doesn't recognize that. I used to be one of the top school, Harvards of Pakistan. So everything was done well. Everything was clean. I also I got rejected a couple of times while I was doing my master's. So I had to get 2 years of experience to show that, hey, I'm actually committed. I know now something. So they wanted that as well. The hardest part was that going through the bureaucracy all.
Yeah. And language, did you have to speak German, or was English fine?
English. So I figured out a lot of programs. I applied in 5 different countries and 10 different universities, and I got into 5 different universities. So I did not want to put my all eggs in one basket. And I figured out that Germany is the best place to be because education is free.
Yeah.
And while being there, I can still be a waiter and learn the language, learn my way out of it, and just do whatever I can to survive. So yeah.
Okay.
It was hard, but I found a program that was in English.
Okay. And so I want to go back also a little bit. So after you got out of school here, did you say you went to a big company, or you started your own businesses right away?
I started working for a very big company that was acquired by Intel, and it was very bureaucratic. It was a lot of Germans coming at the right time, leaving at the right time.
Okay.
You could not, they're nice to you, but they are not personal. And I got fired because like I was in the wrong job. I said I know Excel really well. I did, but not that well. And I was a
So you
student, so
are a
he was happy
salesman.
to teach me all this stuff. But like I got fired because like I sent a wrong mail at the wrong address, and that was my reason to get fired. And okay, this is the shittiest job I've ever had. I'm never gonna. And I am a marketeer, so like I
Yeah.
did not want to do the finance thing. I just like okay, let's just. I learned at least some Excel, and that would be great, but did not work out. And the company itself was like very conservative in general.
Yeah. Yeah. I've worked at one of those before, or like as a consultant. Weird. So, okay. So you have a great opportunity to leave that job. One door closes. What door opens? So what did you do after that?
So the thing is, like, I have a sales background, and I was like, okay, now I'm gonna just look for jobs in startup because the process to apply to get into the job is way faster. It doesn't take long. There's no HR. You direct talk to founder. So I was like, okay, let's try startups. And so I somehow landed into a company place called Vira, which is very popular for startups, and it's used to be in marketing plats. And so I was doing some free work, and then within Wire, I found out a business every 3 months they roll a new startup, and I worked for another startup, but that was also very German.
Okay.
But the founder actually fired me after 3-4 months as well, so I got fired again. And I'll tell you why. But like the founder was also very German about it, so he did
Yeah.
not like share like I'm bringing leads. There was no clear visibility. There was no clear product market fit. The reason I got fired was because I was just not speaking German. So like I was
Yeah.
getting a lot of customers by talking to them in English. He's
Mhm.
like, yeah, this is a good approach, but probably it makes sense of a German guy. And so he said, okay, no, it doesn't make sense. Like I tried,
Yeah.
you're a hardworking person, but like it just doesn't make sense to keep you because we need somebody who speaks German. And so I had to get fired.
Okay. Okay. I really appreciate how frank and casual you are about it. And there's like no
Yeah,
pretense or BS. Yeah.
you learn
Yeah.
from your failures more than you learn from your success. And like there's always survivorship bias. And I think getting fired is a normal thing. It's not something that people should put a taboo on, like
Yeah.
because like it just that they're like two different things did not work out together. And then
Yeah.
I found an American company. I was working for there for 2 years. So like I worked and I hacked the whole system, by the way. You have not asked me, I'll tell you. So
Okay.
this company, so I could not get a proper working student job in Germany. Then I did not want to, and I got an American company, was paying me 3 times more than a standard German company. And I was working as a part-time employee. And I did not send all the money to Pakistan, to Germany. I sent it to Pakistan as a
Mhm.
resident
Mhm.
because in Germany I had to pay tax and I was not allowed to. So a tax was fine, but I was not allowed to work as a freelancer. And I had to go through a
Right.
special application if I am a student and a freelancer. So what I learned with my that job experience was okay, I have to lie to them, send money to Pakistan, then send money back to Germany because only that way I would be able to survive without letting the government know that I'm a freelancer.
Mhm.
I can no like this is the biggest problem of German system. Like students cannot be freelancers. They can be
Yeah.
working student, but not freelancer. Like and you have to go through the application. I actually went through the application once I started my own business, and that was a horrible experience. It took me 8 months to get all things approved by IHK and
Yeah.
Kreisverwaltung.
Yeah. I think I stayed at my corporate job. I stayed 5 years because I wanted to get my
Yeah,
unbefristet
yeah.
Aufenthaltserlaubnis, so my basically green card. And I remember I couldn't freelance. Like there was a whole long, and somehow after a certain amount of time, then I could freelance when I had that.
I
But
still cannot freelance. I'm waiting for my passport before getting the freelance. Still like I have a company and I still cannot freelance.
okay, that's a whole
And I'll tell
other.
you that is another all system. So yeah, I tried to
Yeah,
avoid
like
the German system.
okay, okay. All right, let's use that as a segue. So you are not a freelancer. So I've been, I know you, like I said, from the Munich Post, and then I've been poking around and see you have another thing called the Performers. But why don't you tell me about your main what you are doing?
So I'm actually right now a performance marketing consultant for a
Mm-hmm.
lot of direct to consumer companies who are running ads and who
Mm-hmm.
want to get customer faster and want to scale. Either they have figured out a market, they figured out everything and they want to scale faster,
Mm-hmm.
or they want to get product market fit faster. So that's what I do right now. And performers is kind of my main thing because what the funnel is very simple. So I think in funnels, anybody who's in internet usually thinks in funnels are like The performers is basically my consulting job. And like there is like one client fires you, then you have to find another client. So I did not want to be in that situation. So I created a brand around the performance. I've been doing content marketing and all those things since 2020 for myself, before that for other brands. And I was always like, why don't I do myself? I made people money, not myself. So like, let's do that. So I started a podcast on growth marketing to tell people, hey, I know more growth marketing because I have a podcast. And then I used to call people who I want to work for or I wanted to learn from. And then that turned into a generic growth marketing podcast into a specific performance marketing newsletter. And I was a performance marketer. I turned into performance marketer 2-3 years ago. And so I said, okay, I now have hit the limit of learning. What should I do? So the performers came from the desire to be learning from other brands without talking to people. So that's why I started this newsletter. I had 1,000 people when I pivoted from growth marketing to performance marketing. And then the whole idea was that, like, there's a free content that everybody can consume. From the free content, some people would want to join a paid community, which is like, $20, $30. And then from the paid community, if somebody wants to have a course, I need to start a course and then can make money from that. And it's like a funnel. I want to learn from you, but don't want to pay. I want to learn from you and join other people. I want to learn from you from your course. I don't want to work with you, but I want you to coach me. So there's another one, and there's a fifth one. The funnel is like, I don't have time, just do the work for me. And that's the consulting job. So like back end offer. And so that just like, I started with one client. Oh, the performance marketing also made me realize that like, I cannot work for one company. So like, I cannot be employed. And the reason why I could not be an employee was because I'm a rebel. So like, I don't follow rules, and like many people don't like rules. Especially Germans love rules. So that I realized that like, okay, well, it just doesn't make sense. So I work for one company, but I work for one company. Now I work for 3 companies and they pay me the same salary. So like, I made 3x more income and didn't have to pay full attention to the whole thing, just one specific thing. And that turned out to be really great for me. And so then I said, okay, let's just scale this business. I never want to look for another job. I never want to look for a client. Clients should look for me.
Okay, let me stop you there 1 second and ask you 2 questions. For the folks at home that don't know, can you please just give a brief definition of performance marketing and also growth marketing while you're at it?
So growth marketing covers from the point somebody learns about you to the point somebody is still your fan. It's like a full circle, a full journey of a user who's actually going through learning about a product. And growth marketing job is to get them aware, get them consider the product, get them buy the product, and keep them happy. So it's a full, like, it has a lot of generic department that you as one person do. And performance marketing is like, okay, growth marketing could be like, hey, I'll find a way to get customer without paying anybody. Performance marketing is like, I don't have time. I just want to pay people money to get customers right now at a reasonable cost. And this could be Google ads, this could be Facebook ads, this could be Bing ads, this could be TikTok ads, this could be anything that's ads is like performance marketing in general.
So is that the same as paid customer acquisition? Like, is it the same thing? Yeah. Okay. Got it. And then just one little thing I want to follow up on. You mentioned you're not allowed to freelance, but you are a consultant. So how does that work?
So I had a company like in 2017 that still makes like $500,000. But that company, I sold my shares to my founder because the company was not growing really fast in 2017. It was related to GDPR. The law was coming. After May 2018, when the GDPR law was passed and started and implemented, nobody started caring about GDPR. Before they were, after they weren't, and I was frustrated. So like, nobody wanted to buy the product anymore. Nobody was responding to emails anymore. So I'm going to sell my shares. But one good thing happened with that company was that I stayed an employee because to KVR, I need to show as an employee of a company. And so I routed all my consulting gigs through eComply. And I still to date, my eComply is a proper employee. And eComply is selling my hours to some other companies that I'm working with, they pay income, my company pays me. And that's all because I have a nice founder. I used to be a founder, so that like I have understanding. I think a normal person would have a way harder time to actually find this.
Okay.
And once you start a company in Germany, you don't start as just like I'm putting my capital, like a capital to start a company. You usually you think that you will exit one day, so you start a company where you put money, and that company puts money into the main company that is actually running. So I had two companies. One was eComply, and the one was there's the company that I owned, and that company I still own, but I'm still an employee. So it's like a really
Okay.
complicated system. But basically, I sold my shares to eComply. I stopped being a founder, but I was an employee, and I still kept the other company. But that was just like every year to just was costing me 700 euros for nothing because I had to do accounting every year and to pay my tax advisors every year.
Okay.
I had to,
so let's just quickly go back to the performers and like what is, so you have this, you do consult companies, and then you have the performers, which is it safe to say it's like a membership?
yeah, it's a newsletter with the membership in it.
Okay. And what's that like?
So I have 16 members. So I have like 60 members who are like really advanced, who I am learning from, and they are learning from me and learning from each other. I'd say a community is a way harder thing to figure it out in general because you need to enable people to talk to each other. Unless they are like hundreds and thousands, it's very hard to make people talk to each other. Everybody is a lurker on the internet and not an active member. So you have to make it work. I think the performers is in general is a great business. Like I don't have to just do 2 calls and manage a Slack group and I get paid for doing certain things. But obviously, I have my time spent on. I could do some other job and make more money, but it's something that teaches me. So I love it. That's the answer that you're looking for. But one thing I want to clarify.
Yeah.
I have 4 side hustles and 4 clients, and 4 side hustles are managed by, my company, and the 4 clients are managed by the company that is I'm employed at still.
Okay. That's how you do all of this.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, I have at times like very, very, very at a high level thought about memberships. But it does seem very hard because I'm in a zillion Slack groups, I'm in a zillion communities, and they have like upwards of 200 people. And you see how, like you said, everybody's a lurker. How do you handle that? How do you keep like engagement and like life going in a community?
So it's a lot of marketing tactics that I can tell you. The marketing tactic is basically, first of all, you don't let everybody in. So in order to not let everybody in, you need to ask the people to pay you. When they pay you, then they care. Usually because they're like, oh, now I paid for it. I need to read whatever. And because there's so much free content on the internet, you just keep ignoring. But the paid content, like, okay, I should spend some time on, this because I paid for this, right? So that's like one. Then you don't let everybody in through exclusivity. So I don't let everybody who applies for a performers as that. Third, you tell them the values of the community. Like, it's all about giving each other back. And so suggestion is to, keep doing this. And in order to do that, you need to also actively contribute. Then the fourth thing other than values is that you place certain members who are basically your close friends who are in the group, and they tell them to keep actively promote whatever they figured out, so that they share the content so other people find it valuable. And the fifth thing is who is in the group is really important. So if some big dog is in the group who's like a really big influencer, people love him, people love her, whatever. And so if that person is in the group, I want to be in the same group because I admire that person. And I'm kind of a semi-influencer on Twitter and LinkedIn. So people want to be talking to me. And so sometimes it helps is that like, okay, like I share my tactics and strategies openly. I don't gatekeep anything. I just like make sure that everybody's like, because I don't think those are really are going to make any difference to me anymore. So like, okay, I'm going to share it with other people and it's useful for other people. And so like, they just want to be close to me because I'm a semi-influencer as well. So it kind of worked as well. So these are all tactics and I keep doing it. Like, for example, I just moved away from monthly membership to yearly membership. I'm adding an interview where there was no interview previously. It was just an application. So application and interview.
Oh, wow.
It's harder for people to get in. and having this FOMO of like, I want to join, but he's making it harder. I just want to join. Let's see what it feels like inside. So all of these things play people's psychology, and they say, okay, I need to contribute as well and be like active member.
But it sounds like it's also an experiment. Is that fair to say?
It used to be, and not anymore. For 1 year, I ran it as an experiment.
No, but I mean, trying these different tactics.
Yeah. For sure.
Like, let's see if the yearly works better than the monthly. Let's do the interview. Yeah.
So it's all experiments. You have to keep doing experiments. One thing that with business, when you have whatever that makes money, you cannot stop experimenting.
Yeah, I'm learning that. So this is one of 4 side hustles. So the other one that I know of is the Munich Post. So let's talk about that a little bit. How did you, well, first you can talk about what it is and then how you got the idea for it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good story. So I was already doing well financially. I did not want to start another side hustle. I had a Pakistani friend who was working in the WeWork with me. And that guy in that time he wants to become a politician. So I remember like there was some politician who had his own media company, and everybody has some kind of a media company when they want to go big in America. So like, for example, Jeff Bezos has the Washington Post. So it came from that inspiration from Jeff Bezos. And what happened was that I'm saying, okay, if you want to be a politician, start the newsletter company, because when you will become a politician, maybe other people don't want to cover you, but you will have a strong follower community. Start with that for free. And he was already sharing a lot of content on the internet for free, but for a specific community that was Pakistani. And I taught him everything. He never wrote a blog post about it. So I was like, dude, like, we just started this. I wrote first newsletter for you. I promoted actively in my news feed, and you still not working actively. Just give it back to me. My wife was looking at it. She's like, oh, it's amazing. Let's do it together. And so this was a way for me to interact with my wife on another level with his business. And that was just like, okay, we have something together as a baby other than our baby. So like, that was interesting. And we just did it for 1 year for free before we thought about, okay, now it makes sense to actually like 1 year, every week we used to fight about like, it's not making money. Why are we doing this? It's not making money. Why are we doing this? So at some point I said, okay, now I'm gonna, even though I don't have a lot of subscribers, I'm gonna start looking for sponsors. And first I shut it off, and then I started working. So the Munich Post was just like something that I always needed it. I gave somebody an idea, somebody didn't take it. I had to take it back, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do it for me, and then just wrote it for me. And I figured out there are a lot of people who are like me who want to also receive news in English and not in German.
And you don't do it alone. There's like four people.
Got 4 people. Yeah.
Okay. And it is, I love, you know what I like about it too, that I think is so clever. It's a formula. It's 3 pieces of news, 2 events, and then a restaurant. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Munich Post is basically news in English. That was the main idea. But I was already looking at a lot of newsletters, and my newsletter the performer was not kicking off as good as the Munich Post. So I said, okay, the performer is not kicking off. What did I learn from it? I learned like the content is not digestible. People are like, it's all over the place. So I said, okay, I stole the idea from James Clear, who has 3-2-1 newsletter as well. I have another friend who has a marketing newsletter called Marketing Examples. He also runs 3-2-1 newsletter. So
I know that guy, Harry's Examples.
He's a friend.
Yeah.
He's also the member of Performers as well. He's starting to run ads, and he has not done that yet. And I was like, I can also do 3-2-1. Nobody knows. People know James Clear. People know this guy, but nobody in the Munich would know 3-2-1 format. Okay, let's do this. There were a lot of copy pasting 3-4-1, 2-3-1, whatever that is like. And then so this makes sense. This is what I would read. So I just did it, and it worked. And then we were about to shut down, and we found a writer after 2 of us, me and my wife, we already had an editor, by the way, at that time. I think we had an editor like last year already, and she just wanted to volunteer to work with us. And she said, okay, I love the newsletter. I would love it if you don't make any grammar mistakes. I hate it when I see any grammar mistakes. She had OCD about it. So I said, okay, well, I'm not going to pay. If you want to edit, you can edit. And she used to edit every week. And then I was shutting down, and the writer came in and said, I read your newsletter and I would love to write for you. And then she came in as well. So now she writes, 2 people, 1 person curates, my wife curates, the editor edits, and then I post. I look at for growth and look for sponsors, and it works out because I don't want to spend that much time on the Munich Post because there are only 4 people working on it. It was just happened to be that everybody who was my customer came from who was my teammate came from the newsletter already. So
Okay.
they all were reading the newsletter and they turned
Okay. And then became part of the team.
Yeah. So it's just like if you do a good job and if you're serving a need, people come and they want to help you. They want you to continue. And a lot of people said they would be disappointed. I'm like, okay, I should restart this thing. And now apparently both those people, this is the interesting part of it. The editor and the writer, they make good money from my other projects, proper consulting projects, and I use them there as well. So like they started for free, but they now make money on the side because of connection with me.
So there's a lesson in there, like kind of following your passion can lead to actual paid work.
So there's this guy called this name Vayner, Gary Vayner, and
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Jab, 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 hook.
Yeah.
So basically, you keep giving, and at some point you will get it. This is the main formula.
Okay. So how did you build a subscriber base?
So initially, what I still do it. I don't do it anymore. I'm too lazy about it. But basically, promoting on my newsletter, my news feed. But basically, there's an expat group called International Friends in Munich. I'm expat in Munich.
And all the Facebook groups, you mean?
All the Facebook groups.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna spam people, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share the news for free. And if they like it, then they can see in the comments and they can join if they want. And then I used to do some of my news actually got viral on Reddit as well. And so a lot of people used to read in Reddit. And so Reddit people gave upvote to that news somehow. And then I probably got a lot of subscribers from Reddit as well. There's a subreddit called Munich, actually.
And subscription is free, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's monetized via pay, like they're not sponsored posts, but sponsored, like
sponsors, basically. Yeah.
Okay. And is it hard getting sponsors lined up?
So that's the biggest struggle that I have is like a lot of newsletter get sponsors from their subscriber base because they're reading it and they want to be in it. The Munich Post is the only newsletter that doesn't have subscribers. You're probably the first. Yeah. So just for people to know, like Eleanor is now the first sponsor who came from the. Yeah. Actually, there are two, but like the other one, I don't know if he was a subscriber, but he found out. He said like the Resident Theater in Munich actually sponsored one time, and so to mention them in the events, but they don't read the newsletter. They just found out that it means promotion, and so they paid some money. But you're the first proper one who's like reader and sponsor. I usually struggle a lot to find sponsors because first of all, it has to add value. Like it has to serve English speaking audience, first of all. And second of all, the product has to be good. And the third is like I have to actively cold email people to tell them about it and then convert them to sponsors.
I'm surprised because I'm going to leave them nameless, but there are two big expat kind of portals. I'm going to just not say the other one. I thought about this, but the sales process I found very weird. It was quite expensive. I had to do this long sponsored post and write a lot of it myself. And so that was kind of a big barrier to entry. And they have these smaller classifieds, but only for certain industries. And then there's another one. And like it says, if you're interested in advertising, sign up here. And like the link is broken and it doesn't work. And so I thought, like, why are they making it so difficult? And so yours, it was just like, okay, reasonable price, good response, send me the Stripe link, done.
Yeah. So as I said, I hate bureaucracy. So I don't want to make more bureaucracy out of it. I think the other ones are pretty standard. They're working for 10 years on this business. They're not going to sell it. They're just going to keep doing it. They're not only present in one country, they're present in multiple countries. They know this formula.
Yeah, I know.
So, and the thing is like, they are too big now to fail. So they're like, everybody just reads their newsletter. They're the go-to resource. They're two big ones. They are two big publications for English speakers. So like, I think if you talk to them, like if they are open to it, they should have another category open for you guys. But like most people are not looking for entrepreneurs who can help them with their business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess so. Maybe it's just a little too niche.
Too niche for them, and they want a generic. Expats wants like so. I think if I have a lot of doctors and dentists who speak English, I am guaranteed like if they're interested in sponsoring, I'm pretty sure like the audience will love it because the biggest problem some of my friends had like, hey, I can't speak in German. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
confidence to talk to people and get an appointment. What should I do? Like, this is like a
Mm-hmm.
common problem. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
expats who don't speak German. So like, it's just a good business for those people. The shitty part is that like a lot of doctors are just getting like, it's not America. You don't have to work hard to get a customer in Germany. Like, everything is just through health insurance.
Well, that's
Everything
all. They just have a steady pipeline. It's baked in. They don't need
baked
to
in. So
do.
they don't need
Yeah.
to get more
Yeah.
customers. They don't
Yeah.
need to get, so like
Yeah.
they're like, okay, I don't care. This is what my revenue will be. Why should I work hard to get it? So that's why getting doctors and dentists as sponsors doesn't make sense. But
Somebody
like,
needs to start a business like I will stand at line in the Ausländerbehörde for you, or like I think there is a company in Berlin that does like all like they're like a paperwork helper.
for the to get to the doctors.
No, just all your German paperwork for
Yeah, I
immigrating
know,
and
I
that, like
know.
they like just deal with all of that for you.
Yeah, I think they could be good sponsors. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they're in Berlin.
Yeah. Yes. I gotta find out what their name is again. One thing I want to ask you about is in another conversation you mentioned that the Munich post, it looks like it's on Substack, but it's not Substack. It's Beehive, you told me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said like Substack is terrible. Like, why is it terrible?
So Substack is good to get started with. Like, it's like MailChimp of email marketing. You're like, it's good to get started with, but then you find out it sucks. And so the reason why it sucks is like, as a paid marketer, I want this ability to grow the newsletter. And Substack makes you grow the newsletter through word of mouth. If you're already too popular, if you're a good writer, people already know you. You put it on your Twitter and people will find you and then they will subscribe to you, right? Substack is good for that, but Substack is terrible for, I would say, somebody who wants to grow the newsletter through paid marketing. Like, and I'm putting dollars in. I want to know how many customers. Like, for example, right now we have 75% open rate consistently, and I want to manage. I want to see from somebody who subscribed from month 1 to month 9. Something that Substack wouldn't care about because their audience only comes from free marketing. So like big newsletters. Substack they used to have a recommendation. They started a recommendation engine, but I could not find anybody yet in their recommendation engine who would recommend me. But a lot of people were starting to Beehive. Beehive grew because it positioned itself as a growth newsletter rather than just a newsletter. Substack is a free newsletter. It's a replacement of I would say ConvertKit plus a website, right? So like they have a blog, you have a magazine, but Beehive is also free. But what Beehive does is like, okay, if you want to grow fast, you should be with us, not with Substack. Okay,
cool. So that's just two last questions. You have a child, kid. One, how many?
One.
Okay. So you got a lot going on. Oh, wait, no, actually, let me go back to this. I mean, well, I can ask you this question. How do you like do all of this?
So when you convert your side hustle into something that you are passionate about, then it gets very easy. So like the newsletter is to force myself to learn from other businesses. So I would anyway, try to do this for free for myself when I'm evaluating a competitor, when I'm starting a client and looking at different market, looking at what is different about it. So I said, okay, this is a practice I love, and I love breaking things down. Like, this is like something that is like my pet peeve. And so what I do is like, I was doing it for free. I said, why not I do it for other people and they can learn from it. So newsletter, my performer newsletter is for free, right? It's just like, the performers also get me customers. The performers also get me like, it's like a complete cycle of getting subscribers, getting paid members, getting like, and so my free content is on social, then free content on newsletter. So all of this, I'm already doing it. I'm just promoting a lot more than a normal person, because one newsletter can be 30 tweets, 30 posts, 3 carousels. So all of this is like, I'm already doing it. Might as well just promote it as well and learn from it. So that's like one answer. I'm learning. The key thing is I'm learning. For the other, I've just delegated. The Munich post is almost delegated.
Okay.
The SEO business is completely, so that the two other side hustles are like, the newsletter also makes, like sponsorship money. So that's like second side hustle from the same side hustle, like paid community.
When you say the newsletter, you mean the Munich post?
The performers.
The performers. Okay. So there's a performers of Munich Post, and
The
then you
performance
have
has two income streams. One is community and one is
a,
sponsors.
okay. But you
So
can, you
there are
consider
two
that.
side hustles, right?
Oh, you consider, okay, that's two side handles. Okay.
Two
So
different income streams, basically.
the Munich Post, performers newsletter, performers community, and then a SEO business.
The SEO business. So I started my career in like digital marketing and SEO, and I used to love trying different software. And I was like, since I'm learning a lot, how about just make a blog post out of it? And I used to make my clients rank for it. So when I used to make my clients rank for it, or my companies, I used to rank for it, I was like, I'm making them money, but how about I also start doing it? So I get a cut as well. So now every month there's somebody who writes 6 blogs on my website, aazar.com. And at aazar.com, when you go to resources, you will see like a lot of SEO articles that are basically, I'm trying the product, I've tried it, I loved it, and I just made a review about it, and that's ranking organically, and that also brings like a good amount of revenue
So
without
affiliate marketing.
affiliate marketing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that's also one more thing that is important to know is like I make that money in my sleep because I don't work hard on it.
Okay. Do you, because you outsource the blogging. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, what keyword search tool do you use?
So I am a fan of both software, SEMrush and Ahrefs. It's very hard to pick one, but I'm using currently SEMrush.
SEMrush. Okay. I use Ubersuggest just because the SEMrush is, and you know what? I don't really, SEO is not a big marketing strategy for me in the end.
Yeah.
So, but I do sometimes use it just to check other clients. Anyway, last question. If you could go back in time, what would you tell yourself when you started your side hustles?
Start as soon as possible, whatever you have an idea, and figure out. So there's this term called Ikigai. What you need. So Ikigai is basically what you love, what pays money, what people are looking for, what gives you joy, all of this together, something like that. I don't remember. Let me look at it, a graph of it. Ikigai.
I see that a lot on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so it's basically, so that was like a clear, it's in German right now. What you love, what you need, what people pay, what you're good at. So and that basically is like marketing is something I love. Like, you know, the world needs to learn more about marketing. People pay for marketing. People also, and I'm really good at it. So like these are 4 things, right? The Munich Post is same, like I love reading news in English. The world needs in English. People are willing to pay for something in English because I saw the local.a was like charging money and I pay money for the local, which is an indirect competitor. And the fact is that I'm really good writer, which I learned to become a good writer. I was not a good writer. So I'm good at it. So, and I know how to position it in a way that a lot of people will like it. So that's like figure out Ikigai of your side hustle and then it works. So giving you an example, I have a friend. You might see his sponsor a couple of weeks later. He's into 3 things. He's into guitar, he's into fitness, and he's into workouts. So he's into 3 things. So that's what he loves, right? And so I'm like, okay, if you love this, which one would actually make money? And so like, okay, guitaring, he pays like 200 euros per month, which is like not a lot, but like he doesn't stay consistently. So like guitaring will pay somebody for a short period of time. Then he's so good at all of these things. That's also done. He loves all of things. That's also done. So what will all pay? Guitar, his sense of smell, which is perfumes, or the third thing is a personal trainer. So I said, like, just be the personal trainer. And then what he's good at is he's a brown guy who is still eating some of the diet stuff, which is from our culture, and still maintaining a really good physique. And that's a unique point of view. So that's what his Ikigai is become selling to brown people a diet plus personal training services to people who would want to get in shape but don't want to sacrifice the diet. So that's his Ikigai. And so that's what we figured out last weekend when we were hanging out. And so I think you just need to have this Ikigai concept in your head to figure out what you're really good at. What is something that nobody can actually replace you in the world, or very few people actually do that really well. So
thanks. That's a good note. And I always find that that question very difficult. Like, what are you the best at in the world? It's like, well, but if thinking about that within these Ikigai terms does help.
Actually, it's not that easy to figure it out, especially if you are in that question yourself. So that's why I helped him. I think one question that can help you figure out what are you good at in the world is like, go to your people who you've worked with, who are your friends, and tell them, hey, what do you think like my unique ability is? That's one question. What is my unique ability? And through that, you can actually figure it out. Like, okay, you know what? It just makes sense to me to follow this thing, and it will make me. The other thing is like what I usually also recommend is to not start a side hustle that nobody has ever tried. Start a side hustle that a lot of people have tried. Only you are also really good at it as well.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much. It was great talking to you, Azar.
Same here. It was a pleasure conversation. I just hope people who are listening to this podcast, they find something really valuable, because like it was all over the place, from my story to my marketing lessons to side hustle, all that.
I'm sure they will. Thanks for listening. You can find this episode and all other episodes of the Germany Expat Business Show at my website at www.eleanormayerhofer.com/podcast. That's www.eleanormayerhofer.com/podcast. See you next time.